welcome back to Adulting and Money. If you remember from the last video, we covered everything you needed to have a spreadsheet that tracked all of your expenses from your income through your joint bills and your envelopes through your individual expenses, and then we covered deposit amounts and then the amount left in your slush fund. In this video, we're going to go over how to manage your spreadsheet from a month-to-month basis, because doing it once is easy, but keeping up with it is a little more complicated. So I'm going to show you the easy way to do this with no additional programming or difficulty or real effort on your part. It's just a matter of right-click, copy and paste, and then change a couple cells and then move on to the next month. Again, I am not trying to sell you anything. I don't have any ulterior motives. This is just life experience and a way that I do bills, and I hope that it benefits you and your spouse, period. If you've used this method, the goal is that I'm only trying to help you get a better relationship between you and your spouse and your money. Again, to eliminate the one thing that people fight about the most in a marriage. So if you remember from our last video, we finished James and Mary's monthly spreadsheet that covers everything they need to do, which is right behind me, and you can see that. I'm going to get myself out of the way so when we move from this spreadsheet to the next month's spreadsheet, you'll be able to see it without my head being in the way. And it's not because I not want to be on camera, it's because I'm just trying to give you guys a better view of what's actually going on the spreadsheet. The big thing to remember on this is that we are focusing on one specific scenario, which is in the context of a marital relationship. We want to have, wrong hand, this hand, we want to have an equitable relationship in our money, which is how we came up with these percentages right over here. Those are supposed to help you have an equitable relationship between you and your spouse and your money. So this spreadsheet right here covers James and Mary's monthly bills, but it does not cover more than 1 month. It only covers 1 month, and it's a snapshot that covers their monthly expenses and their bills, and this is great. But what do we do when we move to the next month? Well, this is where we get to the point of spreadsheet management. And again, this is not advanced programming, it's not super difficult, and it's just a matter of knowing what to do with the spreadsheet, because you don't want to just change things willy-nilly. You want to actually be able to keep track of them. So our first step on this, and I have this down here, as you can see, this name, this is you. We're going to pretend we're going to rename this to 2020 for the year, and we're going to call this July because I'm a slacker and I haven't done it. So I'm going to shorten it to a 3-letter combination for the month, because I don't want this to get crazy and take up a whole bunch of space at the bottom of your screen. So I'm going to rename this to 2020 July. Now, the next step for when we move from July to August is to rename this and go to duplicate. And this varies based on whether you are using Excel, OpenOffice, Google Sheets, or whatever you're using, but you want to duplicate it. Down here is a tab, and it doesn't matter what you're doing. Either or is fine. Now you can see this one, since I'm using Google Sheets, this says copy of 2020 July. Now what I do is I want to go ahead and rename it, because this is going to be 2020 August. So I rename it to 2020 AUG right here. Now it puts it right here, but I want to do is drag it, and you just click and drag and it moves it over. Now I have 2020 August, which is the same as 2020 July. This is not a big deal, but what I want to do is 2020 July is now an archive because we're done. We've paid all the bills. Everything's good to go. What we want to do is go into this, and we want to go to Protect Sheet. And again, this varies based on which software you're using. So you want to do is set permissions. And then for if I'm using Google Sheets, what I usually do is just do show a warning, just because that makes me stop and think before I click things. So let's just do that. And then we're going to go back to 2020 August. Now, as you can see, the number one thing we have is we need to change the dates on things from when they're happening. So if James is getting paid on the 1st and the 15th, we need to change that for August because we're paying 1 month ahead. So we're going to go 1 July. Typing is hard when y'all are watching. And 15 July. Now, if Mary is getting paid, we're going to go to calendar and look at this. So James is getting paid on the 1st and the 15th. Mary is getting paid on the 15th and the 22nd when we look at April, or excuse me, the 8th and the 27th when we look at April, but she's getting paid on the 10th and the 24th of July. So we're going to change this to 10 July and 24 July. Now nobody's getting paid 3 times this month, so I'm going to leave this right here. I'm going to leave this blank, but both of these are tentative right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change all these to yellow because they haven't happened yet. And we haven't paid any bills, so we're going to change these to yellow. 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 Yellow. And we're going to change this to yellow. Because as we cycle to the next month, the goal is to change everything from done, as you can see down here, to awaiting confirmation. We're making sure this is what we think it's going to be. All of these numbers are yellow because this is what we think they are going to be. But until they actually become confirmed numbers, we're going to leave them yellow. Again, to show you the difference between where we started and where we are with this current month spreadsheet, this is July down here at the bottom. Everything has been paid. So we're going to pretend that we've got to the end of July. So again, backing up so we understand where we are, we're going to go back down here to look at July. We're going to say, okay, here's what June looked like, because remember, we're paying 1 month in advance. So these are the June deposits all the way down to here. This is savings. This is the amount we paid for rent, power, water, etc. These are all our bills. This is how much James deposited during the month of June. This is how much. So this is where we can cover what happened in June, because remember, we're paying 1 month in advance. So this is what happened in June with James and Mary's paychecks. This is how much they paid in bills right here. This is how much they put into savings. This is how much James deposited on the 1st and the 15th. This is how much Mary deposited, because remember, she's getting paid weeks that are not the exact same as James. Again, all of these are green because they are in the past. They have already happened. Everything is good to go. What we are looking at now is August, which is the next month coming, which we are currently in July. So James and Mary are paying in for that. So 1 July has already happened. We're going to change that to green. Today is the 15th based on my calendar right now. With today being the 15th, that means Mary has gotten paid once. We're going to turn that to green. James has gotten paid again today, so we're going to change that to green. And the only thing we are waiting on to confirm the rest of the month's bills is Mary's paycheck on the 24th. So James will have made both of these deposits. We're going to turn those green. Mary's made this deposit. We're going to turn this green. And we're going to wait on the rest of these over here, the joint bills and the transfer to savings, because we're waiting on Mary's last paycheck to deposit into joint checking so we can transfer that into savings and go ahead and pay our bills. Again, the point of this is to notice the difference between when we fill out a spreadsheet completely and everything is green. Remember, this is awaiting confirmation over here. This is done. All of these that are green right now need to be yellow when you duplicate the spreadsheet and copy it to another tab. And then when we create from this example, from 2020 July to 2020 August, all of these were yellow and we turned them green based on the date and moving the money around between accounts. I know I did this in real time and it kind of changes the dates, so it's not at the absolute end of the month to show going from the green cells to all yellow cells, but I hope that you understand where I was trying to go with the moving from 1 month to the next and then changing the cells from green to yellow, and then as we progress through the dates of the month, you change them back to green based on when the paychecks happen and the deposits into the various accounts. That's going to do it for this episode of Adulting in Money. I hope this is useful. Again, thanks for commenting, thanks for liking, thanks for subscribing, and we'll see you in the next episode.